there, folks. Sean Broderick here. I'm at the New Orleans Investment Conference, and I'm speaking to Christie. She's the president and CEO of Banyan Gold. They have a 4 million ounce deposit already, and they're finding a lot more up in the Yukon. It's the new Yukon Gold Rush. She's going to give you the scoop on what her company is doing. Could you please speak to my subscribers?
Thanks, Sean, and thanks for that great introduction. You know, we're in a super exciting part of the Yukon. We're right beside Victoria Gold, the new gold mine in the Yukon, and I think this district's going to produce for a very long time. Our 4 million ounces is really just the start. We've since drilled almost 50,000 meters, so over 180 holes. We still have 4 drills turning today. It's really exciting what we're finding. This is a very big deposit, and this year we've been able to take some pretty big step outs. The Powerline Deposit itself is 3 million ounces, over 1.2 kilometers. We've now drilled 1.5 kilometers to the west in intersected mineralization, holes 2 and 4 kilometers to the east, and even some 6 kilometers step out. So we believe that over the 16 kilometers of strike length that we have, that there is more mineralization. Our next target for our resource update in 2023 is to get it to a tier 1 scale, so that's plus 5-6 million ounces, or something that would be a 300,000 ounce producer. And that's the scale of project which majors and mid-tier companies need to be significant. And that's why that's our next goal, because I think that will really drive value for our shareholders and make Banyan something that's sought after. We already have a mine next door. They're going to be a 200,000 ounce producer. So once we get to that scale, if they were to acquire us, and they're a 12.5% shareholder, so a significant stake. But, you know, there's lots of other companies out there that are looking for a standalone project, which Banyan could be once it's that scale. Or maybe there'll be companies looking at acquiring both a Banyan and a Victoria. And, you know, it gives our shareholders lots of optionality. We're pretty excited about what this year has in store for us.
Now, you were saying you're in a good neighborhood, so to speak, but you have roads, you have a power line right over the property.
Yes.
There's other infrastructure as well, right? That's
a huge advantage. Having a highway right through the property and year-round government-maintained roads. We have power line that has additional capacity for another mine. That's huge. We don't even have to build the power line to our property. It is already there. And we even have cell phone service, which, you know, when you think about it, telecommunications are so important, and that is all of those long-term, if this is to become a mine, we'll have a really significant increase or a really significant impact on the ultimate capital cost of this project. And you know, we already know what Victoria Gold's cost was to build, and you can envision with the better infrastructure that we have what the capital cost of this kind of project would be.
Well, I'm glad you bring up Victoria Gold because, not to say that they're exactly the same, but there are similarities between your project and the project Victoria Gold has. Could you explore that a little bit?
So we're in the Tombstone Intrusive Belt, and they are mining their intrusion with granodiorite. But our mineralization is the same age as theirs. So at the time, 100 million years ago, there was a large molten gold-bearing rock that pushed up, and fluids that pushed up into the surrounding rocks. Victoria Gold is mining the actual intrusion. Ours is where some of that mineralization seeped into the host rock. So that's a parallel, very similar grade. Their life of mine grade is 0.64. Our grade is 0.6. On surface, near surface, we actually have a little bit gentler topography than Victoria Gold and lower strip ratio. They're 1-to-1, we're 0.34 to 1.
So right near surface.
Right on surface. And that's what we're so excited about, is we're seeing these large areas of higher grade right near surface. We focused on building the resource out because we think scale is so important, and we really have a lot of area. We have 173 square kilometers, and we've still, you know, less than 5% of it we've even explored. So we think that we really have to do some more exploration before we turn to, you know, drilling it off to indicated and putting together a mine plan, because there's still a lot more that could be out there.
Okay, so what's the course of action over the next year? Is it just drill, or else will you start doing some of the other work as well?
So we are already doing some of the work. We started metallurgy back in 2021, which is super important. Metallurgy is, can you recover the gold? We got 90% from both the oxide and the sulfide from both our major deposits, Airstrip and Powerline, which is really encouraging. It's not refractory, means it as amenable to heap leach, which is exciting.
Easier to actually process.
And cheaper, lower capital cost. So we're continuing to do VAT testing before we start doing some formal columns. That'll help inform the column testing, as well as additional bottle rolls, gold deportment, you know, some of the other testing that tells you which processing methods you're going to do. So that's underway. We started our baseline environmental actually 3 years ago, Plus, we were able to get all of Alexco, our neighbor Hecla, actually, now. They just took over Alexco's high-grade silver right beside us. All of their data, as well as Victoria Gold's, which gives us that baseline for environmental permitting when we get there. Really important work to do. So the main plan is to continue to drill this year. We'll have 50,000 meters drilled before we take our seasonal break over Christmas, and we'll probably take a couple months this year. Last year we only took a month off, but with this market and people get tired after a long 11, 12-month season. So we'll take a bit of a break, and then we're funded for another 20,000 meters of drilling next year and all of our G&A for next year. So we're in a great position. Do plan to see an update on our resource once we get to that target number of 6 to 7 million ounces.
Will it be around the middle of next year, or?
It's so assay dependent. That's the other thing that we've done is we do have an assay lab that we've just installed on site, or a prep lab, and then that will really reduce our assay timelines for the end of this year and for next year. We still are dependent on external prep labs right now. Which means, we're 2-3 months out from results when we ship them to that lab. We'll be under a month now that this prep lab is in. So that's super exciting. It'll put us in a great position for next year.
Okay, this all sounds a bit expensive. How much cash do you have, and what would you do when you need to get more cash?
Well, we just did a financing in July last year, $18 million. So, or $17 million, which left us with our last financials at $18 million. By the end of this year, we'll still have $11 million in the till, which is a lot of money for us. Our G&A is pretty low compared to many companies. 85% of the dollars we raise go into the ground. So we are funded for 2023 for 20,000 meters plus all of our G&A with that in the bank.
Oh, well, good.
If we wanted to upscale and do more, obviously we'd need to raise more money. I'm really fortunate we have great shareholders. We have 12.5% Victoria Gold, 30% institutional, including 9.8 from Franklin Gold and Precious Metals. So really long holding shareholders. I'm a 4.5% shareholder personally, which means that I've put in over close to 1.5 million in the last couple of years in cash. I'm the third CEO, so I didn't get any founder stock. I've had to buy my position in the market and alongside my shareholders. And I think that's a key difference for us, is I'm very vested to make my money through my equity, and I care about dilution and my shareholders' value of their stocks.
Okay, let's give people the stock symbols.
All right. BYN on the TSXV and BYAGF.
BYAGF on the OTCQB. So young company, but a lot of gold. And obviously finding more. They don't even know where the edge of it is yet, big this thing is. Now, we'll be seeing a lot more news from them over the course of the year. And we'll just have to keep our eyes peeled. This sounds very exciting. And also, we know they can build a mine there because one was built right next door, which means all the hoops and sometimes pushback you get from the local authorities, you aren't going to get that here. So it's just a really nice setup, and thanks very much for speaking to my viewers about it. You guys stay tuned. I'll have more for you from the New Orleans Investment Conference.
Thanks, Sean.